Good morning, Friday, April 10th, 2026. My name is Francisco Paco Lugovina, and I live in Delray Beach, Florida. And I live here with my partner, with my wife, my companion. And I try to do these podcasts every morning, and most of the time I plan what I'm going to say sort of at the moment, meaning that probably it's not the best way to do it, but like right now I didn't have my microphone on, I didn't have my microphone put into the phone. The iPhone has a beautiful microphone, but adding an additional microphone, I think, guarantees this sound. And being in this present moment, I realized that I was speaking very low. Anyway, here I am this morning. I'm here this morning this early because my softball game in the Palm Beach Senior Citizens was canceled. It was canceled because of field conditions, meaning that yesterday it rained, it was torrential, and they checked with the field people, the parks department, and they say no games allowed. The field is too soft or too wet. So here I am. And as I've said to you many times, I think, maybe not too many times, I want to keep a tradition going of where I was born. I was born in Puerto Rico. So in Puerto Rico, you start every interaction not the way that I started today. You start with saludos, buenos días. And in many traditions it says, Dios te bendiga. May you be blessed. May the gods bless you. May God bless you. May the gods you believe in bless you. And so, saludos y buenos días. It's never too late to correct your ways, you know. One of the things that I decided to do today was talk a little bit about my Soto Zen Buddhist practice, which I received my first empowerments in 1998 by Roshi Bernie Glassman. There was 3 of us who received that empowerment at that time. We received them in a room downstairs in the Grayston Mansion in Yonkers. And I think I've told little vignettes of that encounter with Bernie, and someday I'll repeat it again. In Buddhism, when you get first ordained, you sew by hand a robe. And it is the tradition or the belief that the teachings come through the robe. You have a guide, you have a teacher, but the teaching comes through the robe. So the robe in a tradition is very important. A mini robe is a rakusu. And a rakusu looks like this, like what I'm wearing right now. and it has different lines. This is an ornate one that was given to me when I became a Roshi. Not sure if you can see it. I got this in Poland, and there were a few of us that received the ultimate empowerment in our tradition, which is you become a Roshi, R-O-S-H-I, which in Japanese means venerable old man. Bernie had had a stroke by that time, and his writing was not so cool. So I have it writing back here, which I'm reading. Dear Paco, at last, you've made it, you old fart. Love, Bernie, 11/5/17. It is a tradition that when we first put this robe on, or this rakusu, the symbolic robe, we take the robe, which usually comes nicely packed, and we put it in our heads, and we say, vast is the robe of liberation, a formless form of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, saving all sentient beings. So what's the reason you put it in your head? Is to say that the Dharma is above my mind, is above my ego. It is the ultimate of interbeing. My interpretation. There are probably some teachers out there who have a more robust description of that, and I'm sure they're right. What I decided to do this morning was talk about this little image behind me, which is the sitting Buddha. And in Buddhism, there are many, many symbols, and many symbolic things that are done. And it takes a lifetime, or maybe a couple of lifetimes, to understand all of those symbols. So I did some research, and what came up is, I'm going to read a little bit of this because it's worth reading. The image behind me, which Noemi and I believe purchased this in Tibet, in China. It might have been in one of the cities, or it might have been in Kathmandu. But I know that we didn't purchase that in the United States, and there are two others, which at one point I will bring, like this one, if I see that there's some interest in it. So this is a traditional depiction of the Buddha seated in meditation, likely representing Shakyamuni Buddha at the moment of teaching the Dharma. And the key symbolics is a halo around the head. It's a gold circle behind the head, which represents enlightenment, awakened mind. There is a sitting kind of platform, which is the lotus seat, purity arising from the mud of the world. That's a very Zen kind of belief or talk. The red robe represents compassion, life, energy, and monastic simplicity. There's an ornate throne with lions, royal authority of truth, the lion's roar of Dharma. In the hands are in a gesture which in many traditions, but in Buddhism particularly, called mudras. Mudras are ways of teaching the Dharma as well. And the hands are forming what is called Dharma Chakra mudra, the Dharma Chakra mudra, turning the wheel of Dharma, turning the wheel of compassion. So this is one of the most important mudras in Buddhism. What it means, Dharma Chakra, wheel of truth, wheel of teaching, in my opinion, wheel of compassion. It represents the Buddha's first teaching after the Enlightenment. It symbolizes movement. It symbolizes movement. I want you to think about that movement. Truth being set into motion in the world. In Buddhism, movement is very, very important. Sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? Because in Buddhism, we do a lot of sitting meditation. But people like Bernie Glassman always said you gotta get your butt off the cushion and get into engaged Buddhism, which is a sort of becoming an activist in whatever you choose to do in life. Looking closer, this is where the magic is. The right hand is held near the chest. The thumb and index fingers form a circle. Also form a circle with thumb and index finger. Positioned slightly inward. Together, the two circles often represent wisdom, prajna, and method, compassion, action. The three tenets that Bernie left us is not knowing, bearing witness, and action. Inner understanding plus outer expression. The gesture near the heart, teaching comes from realized experience, not theory. So in our practice, living, experiencing, and being mindful of all the events going on around you on a moment-to-moment basis is the essence of enlightenment. So there's a deeper meaning, and it gets pretty intense. This mudra, pretty powerful stuff, man. So this mudra is not just symbolic; it's instructional. No? This is why these depictions, and remember, some of these depictions come from 1,000 years ago, 15 years ago, 2,000 years ago, or some might even come back. Some of the issues, some of the forms might come back to 2,700 years ago when the Buddha was around. So the mudra is not just symbolic, it's instructional. Truth is not static. Remember what I said about movement? Truth is not static. It moves, evolves, and turns. Turning out the wheel. Teaching is not information. So we go to school and we get our heads full of information. Teaching is transmission. Teaching is not information. Teaching is transmission. The circle shapes leads to emptiness, wholeness, no beginning, no end. In my language, which I tried to express before, is living wisdom in motion. So in Zen, it could be that we'll say the mudra is not the teaching. The Buddha is not the teaching. the moment of experiencing and being mindful itself is the Dharma. The hands are not explaining the truth. They are being the truth, being, bloom being the truth. At the bottom of this image, there's two lion heads with big mouths open like this. Those symbolize the strength and fearlessness of truth. To live in this space, there has to be tremendous strength, tremendous dedication, tremendous consistency, and fearlessness, absolute fearlessness of truth. In quotation, lion's roar equals the uncompromising clarity of awakened teaching. That's why I say to people, you have to clarify, you have to clarify, you have to clarify, and you have to purify, and you have to purify, and then you have to go back to clarifying, clarifying, clarifying. And purification is a lifelong circle for all of us, no matter what age you are. I can live to 100, 110, 120, and I'll be always clarifying and purifying, clarifying and purifying. Has to do with that lion's roar, the uncompromising clarity of awakened teaching. The flowers that are in this depiction here represent impermanence and beauty. So the image is not just religious art, it is a mirror of your role. You out there who are listening, your role. You sit between stillness and expression. Your life experience becomes Dharma in motion. Your voice, your story, Andreas, your voice, your stories, your own turning of the wheel. This image represents, for me, the wisdom that I was given from my grandmother about my life being ayudar al prójimo. Is the wisdom of becomes service-centered, service being. So that's pretty much that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful image that I have on my wall. And quite frankly, most of the time these images are there, and I've sort of, like every human being, kind of ignored them, although I do bow to them, but I had never really done what I just did now and go into them. So I'm gonna leave you with that today. In Puerto Rico, where I was born, when people come in, they say, bendición. And whoever's there, the person, the woman, the man, the elder says, Dios te bendiga, may God bless you. Not me, may God bless you. And when they leave, they say the same thing. They say, bendición, as a way of saying goodbye. And the same response comes back, may God bless you. So, may all of you be blessed. Que Dios los bendiga a todos. Y que tengan un viernes saludable, con mucha alegría. May your Friday be healthy, with a lot of love, with a lot of happiness, with a lot of joy. We all seek happiness, and that's quite fine. That's okay, however you define happiness. We all seek to give and receive love. Wow, that's awesome, man, when that happens. And all of us are continuously seeking to ask the question, who am I, and connect with ourselves as we connect with others. It is a wonderful world that we live in. It is a complex world. It is a confusing world. It is a world full of pain and horrors going on. But also at the same time, the worms are still doing their work. The birds are still laying their eggs. Things are going on. Nature's still adapting and forming. So we have to take it all in. And some of it is very oppositional, contradictory, and some of it is contradictory and truth at the same time. We've got to be able to do that as well. Be able to hold the tension between all these contradictions that we're living with our practice. So again, good weekend to all of you. Not sure if I'm taking off the weekend, but if not, I'll see you tomorrow. And if not, I'll see you all on Monday.